yo, welcome back to Right at the Wire. Well, now we're going to take a look at the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf for 2-year-olds. It's part of our division series, so let's get into it. So this is the prospective field for the Juvenile Turf. Of course, we don't have it finalized yet, and it is interesting to note there's only a couple of Europeans, not quite as many for the sprint, that are signed on as potential. So that's pretty interesting to me. May give a little bit of an edge to the Americans. We're going to look at them as by the key prep races as we do. So the first couple we're going to look at are Carson's Run is the first, and owned by West Point Thoroughbreds. Christophe Clement, top turf trainer, and Dylan Davis is riding really well right now. So that holds them in good stead going into the juvenile. You see this one is at a pretty good record, 3 starts, 2 wins in a second, and did win the Summer Stakes, and we'll see that in a second. Next one we're looking at is My Boy Prince, and he is trained by Mark Cassidy, no stranger to American soil, but he is coming in from Canada, owned by Gary Barber, high-class outfit, and this is another one, 5 starts, 3 wins, 2 seconds, so isn't doing much wrong. And the other nice thing about this one in particular is that he does run from the front end, and there usually aren't too many for the 2-year-olds to start, so that may give him a bit of an advantage. So this is the Summer Stakes run at Woodbine, and for reference, Carson's Run is number 2. My Boy Prince is number 3, and then we talked about this one in the Juvenile Turf Sprint. Go for Gusto, and he's not listed for the Juvenile Turf, but I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up. He is number 5, and I think he's one to keep an eye on as well. So let's see how it goes here.
Busick today in the last along. King of the track moves in, stand by for a start. They're all in. Locked up. On their way in the Bet 365 Summer Stakes.
They're all away pretty well. Carson's Run towards the back, and you see My Boy Prince keen to get right up on the lead.
And Joel Rosario saunter into the lead. My Boy Prince in front of Western World. A pack of them.
Go for Gusto broke well, but they're taking him back. You see the jockey really keen on bringing him towards the rear. Never really understand that move about re-rallying, but in this case it worked pretty well.
And over on the inside, it's Carson's Run at the back. About 6 lengths covers the field, and My Boy Prince.
See, pretty good clip for turf.
Western World, tucking in nicely. Rosa on the inside. A half away came on the outer Busick. A length and a half away, Tunchi. King of the tracks, improving around the outside from Super Attentive. And back second last, go with Gusto. On the inside last is Carson's Run, showing the way every step of the way so far. My Boy Prince with Western World in second. Up on the outside is Busick as they go down inside the 3.5.
See, just saving ground. Carson's Run looks like he's about ready to get going there.
And losing a touch of ground. There was Erosa. King of the track is off the track, making ground. Behind them, Super Attentive go with
Go for Gusto as well, and they basically come out together. My Boy Prince, you know, he's keeping on, and it's a pretty decent pace, and he's starting to separate from those that were chasing him. But here comes the cavalry. You see, Go for Gusto, really good kick, just wasn't quite as good as Carson's Run. But a really nice kick there for a horse that we know we got to keep an eye on.
Prince's Run second, go with Gusto third, Tunchi fourth, and then Super Attentive.
So the next group of 2-year-olds we're going to look at are ones that ran in the Bourbon Stakes at Keeneland. And the first is Can Group, trained another one by Mark Cassidy and Francisco Arrieta aboard. And this one showed a really big kick, as you'll see in a second, to take this one down. It looked like Noted had it all the way, and Can Group just came from the clouds and with a really big kick. And if he duplicates that, he's going to be awful hard to beat. Secondly is Noted and Rapoli Stables, Todd Pletcher, Rod Ortiz. Very versatile horse. He's equally as good on dirt as well as turf, so we'll have to see which race he runs in, whether it be the turf or the juvenile. I would guess it would likely be the turf. I think he has a little better chance there, but equally as effective. And then the third runner is Tok Tok, and Graham Motion, really nice turf trainer. You get the Hall of Famer Johnny V aboard, and they're owned by Wertheimer and Frere, who's been an outstanding turf outfit for a lot of years, and this is one to watch as well. So let's take a look at the Bourbon Stakes.
So this is the Bourbon Stakes, and for reference, Can Group is number 4, Noted is number 5, and Tok Tok is number 8.
And they're off in the Castle and Key.
See, they're away
Bourbon
from
Stakes.
fine. And
There's
Noted pretty keen to get up towards the leaders.
Seller is there. Vote no between that pair.
Can Group towards the back, and then Tok Tok about mid-pack.
Money. Fortune Seller now moves up, has the lead. No most will go
And you
second.
see they're tugging on Tok Tok pretty good
He's traveling in third
to hold him back there.
The first turn. Vote
So
no is
pretty
fourth
keen.
alongside that one. Double your money. Far
And
outside
he drifts towards the back, and now you got Can Group and Tok Tok at the rear.
First turn.
And Noted up rating.
Out toward the center
He's
of
going to
the
have
course,
to work out a trip. He's on the inside saving ground, which you want to do, but
back toward the inside.
he's going to have to find a way through the other runners.
Eighth, Coin Miner ninth. Tok Tok is racing in 10th. And then Gorilla Trek, who is next to last, and Can Group is last of the 12 as they make their way up the backstretch in the Castle and Key Bourbon. Back up front, Fortune Seller has the lead against the rail, only by a half length. Double your money. Second by a length. First World War picks them up third, but
Looks
has
like
to go
Tok Tok settled down pretty well.
Noted is fourth, right behind the leader, down toward the inside. And then Vote No, who's caught wide, still 5 lengths from the front. No most between horses. Palm Tree against the rail is still 7 from the front. It is Fortune Seller.
You see Tok Tok and Noted both going to have to work out trips here, and the rail's opening up a little bit for Tok Tok.
Noted in behind horses.
He kind of got shut off a little bit by the one. Let's see if he can get through.
Noted will join them on the outside. Gorilla Trek trying to run from last to the center of the course.
Noted drifted back, but he's free now. And Tok Tok's got plenty of horse. He just has nowhere to go. And here comes Can Group out of nowhere. You look at Tok Tok, had to check. A little unlucky, but that's the kind of trip that you definitely want to pay attention to, because Tok Tok had plenty of horse there, and if it's overlooked, then you definitely will get a price. And I'd say that he's the one I want to watch the most. Although Can Group at 47-1, that was a pretty darn good kick. So I think this is a useful race for all three of them.
After they cross the wire, and he's aboard.
So the next group we're going to look at are those that ran in the Pilgrim Stakes, which is always a good prep for the Juvenile Turf, and it's run at Belmont at the Big A. And Agate Road is the first we're looking at. You see Todd Pletcher got a ton of horses on Friday. He's going to have a lot of shots. That should be a pretty good day for him. Rapoli Stables, Arad Ortiz, Need You Say More, and this one's been 2 wins in a second, so doing a lot well. Next is Fulmineo, owned by Starlight Racing, who's really been at the forefront of the 2- and 3-year-olds lately, particularly out west. I know Delacour trains Flavion Prat aboard, the French connection there, and you see this one's been in the money in all his starts. And then Liam's Journey. Don't know much about Robin Kaiser as an owner, but Mike Maker's the trainer, and we know the longer they go on turf, the better he is. So stretching out is a good thing, and this one being by Liam's map, that shouldn't be a problem. And you got a really good turf rider, Manny Franco. Does a lot of riding for Chad Brown, and really solid turf rider, so always one you want to keep an eye on. So let's take a look at the Pilgrim Stakes.
Here's the Pilgrim Stakes, and for reference, Liam's Journey is in the 1 hole. Agate Road is the 3, and then to the outside, Fulmineo is the 8. And it's the same distance as the Juvenile Turf, so that's always makes this a good prep. You see Liam's Journey pretty keen. Fulmineo as well, and then Agate Road's just content to go to the back and save ground. And Liam's Fulmineo drops back with him.
He's got it. He's cleared the field. Tiffery is racing in the second as gets pulled and now moves up on the outside. Then it's BD Saints.
Liam's Journey drops back too to rate.
Now back in 5th. Fulmineo is in 6th. And at the back are Agate Road and Triple Espresso. The first quarter, 23 and 2/5 seconds as the field heads up the backstretch with Spirit Prince stepping away here to lead by 2.5 lengths. Get Spooled is second by a half length. Tiffery down on the inside runs in 3rd. And then BD Saints in 4th, 4.5 from the front. Liam's Journey
pretty
runs
decent
in 5th,
clip.
followed by Fulmineo.
47-1 for Turf.
Agate Road and
So
Triple
good place to be
Espresso.
towards the back, and you see all
Two-year-olds
three of our
continue
players.
along and hit for the far
They're all
turn.
pretty much
Spirit
together.
leads the leader here by 2.5 lengths. Ran the half in 47-1.
Williams Road a little keen, a little quicker to get going than the other two. Agate Road, jockey knows he's got a horse just biding his time. Same with Fulmineo. And Liam's Journey is going to end Fulmineo. Both going to have to work out a trip going towards the inside. But it's clear sailing for Agate Road, just what he wants. And they both got free. You see Fulmineo, a lot of horse coming late as well. Liam's Journey, they're all traveling well. Agate Road just a little bit more. And, oh, Liam's Journey got squeezed there. Little unlucky. But I think that's a useful race for all three. I think those are all three that we want to keep an eye on. Obviously, Agate Road looks like he's got a pretty good kick, maybe a little better than the other two, but good race.
So now we're going to look at our California 2-year-olds who all ran in the Zuma Beach Stakes at Santa Anita, and of course that's important because that's where the Breeders' Cup's going to be. Endlessly undefeated, looks awful good. Just won the Zuma Beach and had a nice figure to go along with it. So this one is heading in the right direction. Trained by Mike McCarthy, very underrated trainer. And you've got J.J. Hernandez, the leading rider in Santa Anita. So this one we have to take seriously for sure. Nagano is another Mike McCarthy, and Antonio Fresu, another nice jockey. This one is a maiden, but obviously is moving forward. Maybe he's been unlucky a little bit. But in the second start to put in a stakes race and get a second, I think that speaks pretty well for what they think of this horse. And then Grand Mo the First is owned by Grand Polo Stables. Victor Barboza, trainer, and Emisel Yaramillo is a really nice jockey down in Florida. And this one shipped over. Temperature-wise, it's not going to be much of a difference, I don't think, but surface-wise either, for that matter. So we'll see how they do, but this one's done nothing wrong in Florida. Florida has not been terribly competitive so far in the last couple of years, and that's something to keep in mind. They used to be Florida shippers. If you could really make a lot of money betting on them whenever they move to another territory, but lately they just really haven't been there. So we'll just have to want to keep that in the back of our mind when we evaluate Grand Mo First, but let's take a look at the race.
So here's the Zuma Beach, and we've got Nagano number 2, Endlessly number 3, and Grand Mo First number 6. So that's Nagano 2, Endlessly 3, and Grand Mo First 6.
They're in the gate. And they're off.
Good beginning. Sorry about the quality. It's the best I could get. A little blurry. And you see Nagano right to the front. Endlessly about mid-pack. And Grand Mo First content to go right to the rear.
There is fourth in the early going. Then Endlessly. Mitzi's Express. Ace of Clubs is second to last. And Grand Mo the First at the back of the field. And Nagano shows the way. Past the six for
pretty quick, 22 and 4 to start.
Formidable man in second. Then Voltage,
Endlessly is just going to rate mid-pack.
In fourth. The favorite Endlessly fifth, 4 lengths off the lead.
Grand Mo First kind of open rein there. Never like to see that. Same thing with Nagano. Just kind of like to think they got a little more horse than that if they restrain him a bit. But worked out okay.
Ace of Clubs has made a little bit of headway. He's racing on the outside of Mitzi's Express. And now Grand Mo the First goes by that pair. Yellow colors.
You see, Grand Mo the First was the first to pounce. But I think the jockey knows with Endlessly, I got plenty of horses. It's just a matter of time of when I want to set him loose. And here we go. You see Nagano keeping on well on the lead. And some separation. So that's important. There aren't too many front runners in the prospective field aside from my boy Prince. So it could be a sleeper if he can get away. But you see Endlessly just too good. just blows right by the rest of them, and clearly the class of the 2-year-olds in California on turf.
Next one we'll look at is Air Recruit. Nice looking Jesse, owned by Mark Greer, trained by Arnaud Delacour. So he's got a couple in this race. And Charlie Marquez in the irons. It's got 2 out of 3 wins with a third, and won the Laurel Futurity. So let's take a look at that.
So here's the Laurel Futurity, and you're going to love the race call in Spanish for those of you who speak it. This will be cool. Otherwise, just watch the race. Sorry about that. Number 9 is Air Recruit. You see he was away pretty well. Kind of bobbling a little bit. A little green. But it's only his second start, and you see the jockey's got a pretty keen hold on him early. But he's up towards the leaders.
Se está colocando Dancing Miss Chief junto a Elevated Gaiden. Más atrás por dentro lo está haciendo.
Good ground saving position.
Junto a él se moviliza por fuera el número 15 Mortal Sin. Luego vemos al número 13 Grand Kingdom junto al ejemplar Skelling Island. Y se han quedado algo lejos en las últimas posiciones. Entre ellos el número 4 Understudy Kitty. Recta de enfrente en Laurel Park, 24 exactos. Es el parcial para el primer cuarto de millas. El Laurel Futurity State, edición 2023. En el segundo lugar,
he's got a good position there, getting ready to pounce. Not going to let him get away and walk. Got to find a hole, though. Let him drift the 10, get up, going a little bit, so he can work something out to the outside. He's got a good hold of him, so there's plenty of horse here. We can see that.
La lucha se coloca interesante en la primera posición cuando ingresan
on the turn. Changes leads. And he's got his head up, so, I mean, he's not even fully extended yet and accelerating. So I think that's a pretty good sign. I just don't know how good this field is. But he did what a good horse is supposed to do. Might be a sleeper. Now he's fully extended. Just blew that field away soundly.
Next two we're going to talk about are European horses shipping over potentially, and the first is Unquestionable. And you see he's owned by Coolmore, which should be, amongst others, which should be known to all of us, and Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore, absolutely lethal combination. You know, they come over every year, and every year they kick it. So definitely one to be taking a look at. The second is Henry Adams, is also Tabor Magnier, another big-time outfit. We see him over here all the time. They'll be prominent this weekend with Paddington, amongst others, and Auguste Rodin if he comes over. Aidan O'Brien training, and of course the Hall of Famer Frankie Dettori, who nice to see is not going to retire after all. He's going to come back to the States, so looking forward to that. Anyway, this is another one that finished 4th in the Dewhurst, and that's like a Breeders' Cup juvenile type of race over in Europe. So this one's to pay attention to as well. So let's take a look at the Grand Criterion.
So this is the Grand Criterion, and you'll note Unquestionable is in the silver jacket with the red velvet cap, and Henry Adams is in the purple. And I'll point them out again as we go along here.
Well, let's see if he can produce it once again here today.
They're both towards the front, so it should be pretty easy. You see Henry Adams towards the rail and Unquestionable right next to him. They're both away at the same time. Both up towards the leaders. Henry Adams a little keener to get going, and you know Unquestionable was a little washy there, so ran a pretty good race here. So I don't, I wouldn't say that that's if he does get washy at Santa Anita. If he's there, then I wouldn't worry about it too much.
As they race down the full straight, and it's Henry Adams on the left in the purple leading to Ballymount Boy, a red cap alongside.
And you see Henry Adams up on the engine, and Unquestionable just raiding behind.
Westman is next. Bourbon is last as they move into the home straight. Evade is towards the right, just ahead of it.
Both going pretty easily at this point. And Unquestionable's keen to get going, you can see.
Takes them down this long run,
Tipping out a little bit.
Bourbon extreme right is only beginning his run now.
Here's where the run gets going.
Unquestionable is there as well.
Unquestionable engages. Henry Adams not quite up to the task, but Unquestionable's got plenty of run. Just gets run down by Rosalian, and that's a nice outfit over in Europe, the yellow with the black dots. But I'd say Unquestionable of the two looked a little better than Henry Adams. So we'll just have to see.
The last two we're going to look at are pretty much mysteries to me. I wasn't able to find a whole lot of info on either of them. Stay Hot is just broke his maiden, and that's the only win. But the thing to pay attention to is that Peter Yurton is the trainer, and he's red hot at Santa Anita right now. He's winning over 40%. And Antonio Freso, I think they're connecting at like 38% together. So this is a dynamite combination. It's a little much to ask of a horse who's just a maiden to get into a grade one, but if anybody can get him ready for it, it's Peter Yurton, and hopefully we'll have some more information as we get closer to the Breeders' Cup. And then Legend of Time, and this is another one that's awful hard to find information on. I was not able to glean much at all. However, do you really need it? You got Godolphin as the owner. You got Charlie Appleby and William Buick together. They've been lethal in the Breeders' Cup. The one thing to note, though, is Charlie Appleby's had a bit of an off year for Godolphin in particular. A few of his who shipped over here weren't world beaters. And so it's been, and at Royal Ascot, he had a pretty lousy meet. Now, he has recently got a couple that have been pretty good. Master of the Seas, to name just one out of many. But can't underestimate him at all. This one has only broken a maiden, but you'd have to believe if Charlie Appleby thinks this one can run in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, that's probably a pretty good bet. This one's a runner. So hopefully we'll have some more information as we get closer. So if we're looking at the top prospects for the Juvenile Turf, these are ones I think, based upon the race replays, we ought to be paying attention to. Carson's run looks pretty obvious that that was a solid win in the Summer Stakes. You do have to question the quality a little bit of the Canadian fields. The fillies have been better than the colts amongst 2- and 3-year-olds lately. So we have to keep that in mind. But this one has run in the States and been pretty good. So I think this is one we have to consider, especially with the connections. My boy Prince, mainly because this one runs on the front end, is probably going to have a pretty good advantage, as I don't know that there's a lot of other early speed types signed on for this race. Can Group, it was 47-1 at the start of the race. I think we saw it 28-1 when it finished, but that was a pretty damn good win, and really showed a really good closing kick, and hopefully that wasn't an anomaly given the big odds. But you have to take that one seriously. Noted, we don't know which race he's going to run in yet, whether it's the Juvenile Turf. I tend to believe it'll probably be this one. But being up near the leaders, where there's mostly closers, maybe gives a little bit of advantage. It's certainly a very versatile and talented horse. Tok was awful unlucky in that race and in the Pilgrim. And I think had plenty of run. And I think that you're probably going to get an overlay if people don't notice that. So I think this is one definitely to keep an eye on, and you're probably going to get a pretty good price. Endlessly from the California group, we really don't know how good they are, but I think Endlessly showed that he's clearly the class of them and hasn't done anything wrong, and he'll have home advantage, so I think you have to consider. And then Unquestionable, from the European imports, look to have a pretty good kick there. And again, if running up on the lead, if he's good enough, may be able to get a jump on, because there's more late runners than there are ones to be want to be closer to the lead. So given Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore, I mean, you just can't overlook them. So I think this is one to consider. Certainly, we'll try to get more information on the ones we're a little light on right now. But as it stands now, from what we have available, I think this is the group that we want to keep an eye on.
So that's the Juvenile Turf. Looks like a pretty contentious group. Not necessarily easy to find the one that's going to be at the forefront going into the race. So it should be a really good betting opportunity, if nothing else. We'll continue with our postings for the British Cup divisions. And so we'll have that available to you. Please be on the lookout for it. And if you do like content like this, of course, please like and subscribe. And we do thank you for coming by. Looking forward to having you through the rest of the thoroughbred racing season. That's it from here. I'll talk to you soon. And until then, be well.